So you'd think the kinds of solutions that I'm talking about here would have very little relevance in this country. As some of you may know, insurance companies have their backs against the wall. And I know you're tempted to hiss when I talk about insurance companies, right? But they have their backs against the wall. 65% of the costs that they face are coming from a small percentage of their population who have acute and chronic illnesses. And so we were working with their disease management group, and the disease management group was really interested in finding ways to reach out to people earlier, to get them to connect and improve their behavior earlier in the continuum of care. That was their focus. They're looking at epidemics of obesity and diabetes, and they're trying to figure out how can we get to these people. They're not listening to us. Our current set of tools are not reaching them. Sound familiar? So what's missing here? How many of you have ever received an SMS from your doctor reminding you about an appointment? There we see a few. How many have ever received an SMS reminding you about a mammogram or some other test you needed to take? So here we are in a country of incredible wealth, and we're not anywhere further along in terms of thinking through these kinds of solutions. Here's just one example of what's starting to happen. We're seeing abundance and a lot of solutions starting to emerge that provide feedback loops around diabetes in America, and in the same time in Mali, they're using those same tools to try and address malnutrition in babies. This is happening all over the world. So on a small scale right now, but it's a phenomenal wave of innovation, all tied to such a simple and impoverished tool, text messaging. It's astonishing and counterintuitive to a designer that this would be the most powerful tool that we have in such an emotional situation. So it's happening all over the world, and it's addressing an extraordinarily broad range of issues, healthcare issues, from AIDS to osteoporosis. This quote really became, by far, the most significant influence on me in this project. So it comes from George Whitesides, who's a preeminent chemist at Harvard. And what he's saying here is that diagnosis is information. We think about it as technology. We think about it as science, but it's not. It's information. And if we can get that information out as broadly as possible at the lowest possible cost, then we will succeed. So we've tried to put forth a model for how to do that, a model that we think is the starting point for succeeding in that effort. It involves rapid improvements in off-the-shelf diagnostics, an approach to packaging design that integrates mobile services that's simple and ultra-low cost, local assembly and distribution so that it can be addressed and developed and part of the local community's response to crises, and by far the most important piece, integrated mobile services. So ways of connecting to feedback that is much more readily available than any other. So to come back to Zinni's message,